Hello everyone, this is Gail from Gail's Upstairs Studio. I hope you're all having a good day. I thought today I would show you what I got on Amazon Prime Day last week. I got one art supply, and it is this set of markers from Ohuhu. I have two sets of dual brush tip pens that I use a lot. One is Tombow dual brush pens, and one is a set that Michael sells, and it's their store brand, and it's Artist Loft. I love both of those sets, but the only problem with the Artist Loft set is that it doesn't have a large range of colors. I think the set I have was the biggest I could find, and it was, I think, 48, something like that. And Tombow has a huge color range, but they are quite pricey. So I was kind of looking for a way to bridge the gap and find something that had a few more colors but didn't break the bank. And I think I found it. This is the Ohuhu Maui series journal dual brush pens. On the box it says there's dual tips, a brush and a fine, and they're non-toxic and acid-free, and the box doesn't say it, but they're also water-based. They come in a very nice box, and as you can tell, I've unboxed them because I've tried them out, and this isn't really a review because I'm not an expert in these things, but this is just my impressions of this particular set. There's 120 pieces, 120 pens in this box. They have several different sets in this range, I think, in this series, I think. I do know for a fact they have a 160 set too. But I thought 120 was fine for now, and I love the box. It's my style. Black with flowers is very pretty. In the box came a few extras. There is a package of replacement nibs. There are 5 brush nib replacements and 3 fine tip replacements. And there is a color guide of the full range of 120 colors. And there's also swatch cards, and I've already filled them out. And this, I would say, is like a cellulose watercolor paper. It's got a little bit of a texture to it, and it's nice and thick, so they didn't really bleed through on the back much. And these are all the pretty colors that are in this set. This box doubles as a stand also, and I'll show you how to do that. If you open the front flap, on the top cover, there is a warning label, and this is done in several different languages. So the warning is only actually this long, and it is about the magnets in the box, just to be aware that they're there, and the problems that it causes if it is ingested. And then if you pull the box this way, and I'll lift it up this way so you can see better, this flap actually comes back like this, and there's the front flap magnet, and there's a magnet here too. So if you put this to the front like this, it'll find that magnet and it will snap right in, and you lay it down this way and it is a stand. And I really like that feature because it is attractive and it looks fine sitting out. And I think that, for me anyway, I tend to use my art supplies when I can see them. I use them more. So I really like that feature. There is one issue some people might have with the box itself. If you like to keep everything in a color order or a number order, it's going to be difficult to do that in this box because they're not individually slotted down here. This is all one big space, and they all just push in there together. So I think you'd have a hard time keeping them exactly straight. And another hint is you will notice that some are fine tip out and some are brush tip out. You can tell the difference because the fine tip lid is smaller than the brush tip, and that is because they fit in here better that way. So there is that. Now there is one challenge that I had in this set, and I'm about to show you what it is. It's really the only, I'm not going to call it a downside because it's not a deal breaker, but it is a little bit of a challenge. I generally use these kind of pens for lettering. I recently have started using them for sketchbooks and things too, but mostly I have used them for lettering. Now, I find some of these pens a challenge, but not all. The brush nib on these pens aren't very consistent from pen to pen. Some are more floppy and some are more snappy. And when I mean floppy, the very tip of the pen, if it has a lot of give to it, when you're trying to get a thin upstroke, see if I can do this standing up. If you're trying to get a thin upstroke, you want to be able to feel that tip so you can tell how hard you have to press to get what you want. And it's hard to do that with a floppy, when the nib is floppy, because you can't feel it to tell, so it will skip on you. And it skipped there a couple times. I'll show you again. And the only way to really get the skip to go is to make the line thicker. So you're not going to get a nice thin upstroke. The downstroke is fine though. So we'll just write high. And you have to go really slow when you're doing the upstroke, when that is soft like that, because it will skip on you if you don't. And let's see, this one I believe was better. And this one was more snappy, and I'll show you the difference. I can get a much thinner upstroke with no skips, and a nice downstroke too. So that is one thing I did find with this set, and it's not a lot of them that are floppy, but enough that I did notice an inconsistency. I will give you one hint. I haven't done it because I think they are perfectly usable as is. But if you did have one in your pack that, especially if it was a color you really liked, and you wanted to use it a lot, but it was already giving you trouble, you do have the replacement nibs. I would try to save as many of them as possible, because if you do use these markers a lot, because especially for lettering, because of the way you have to use them, they will fray after a while. So it's nice to have those replacements on hand. But if you're finding one that really is hard to maneuver right off the bat, you have a good way to fix that. Now on to the colors and the juiciness of them. There's 120 markers in this pack, and I've had a few in my life, and I will tell you that it is very unusual to have that many and not have even one that is drier than the rest of them. These were all equally as juicy, and it was all very quick coverage. I didn't have to go back and forth. It was just a couple of lines with the brush pen, and it covered the whole square and blended together very nicely. There's not a lot of streaking, and there's no dry spots. I was really impressed with that, and the fine tip impressed me too. A brush pen will a dual brush pen sometimes comes with a brush end and a bullet tip, which is a little thicker, and sometimes it comes with a brush tip and a fine liner tip. And I have found in a couple of sets that I've had in the past, if it had a fine tip, it was so fine you could barely see it, and it didn't work very well, and it dried out very quickly. That is not the case with this one at all. As you can see, it's very visible, very easy to use, no dryness, even color all the way through. I'm going to lift it up, see if you can see it a little better. I was very happy with that. So all in all, I think where this will not replace my Tombow pens or my Artist Loft pens, I will use them, and I'll give you a couple of suggestions, and this is how I plan on using it. If you have a planner that you like to doodle in, or you like to add color to, even to highlight things, there's several colors in here that are really very fluorescent looking that would be great for highlighting. If you're a bullet journaler, if you are a daily sketchbook artist, if you have a teenager who is getting into trying art and maybe keeping a journal or keeping a sketchbook, and they've mentioned to you that they'd like to have Tombows. If they've never used them before, maybe try them out on this first. This is a good viable option to start, and then maybe move them up to Tombow. I plan on using them in my sketchbook, and I plan on using them in my planner. I tend to be a planner doodler. I'll plan out my week, and I doodle in the margins a lot, and I will be using it for those and for my sketchbook. So that is what I think of these. Like I said, it's not a review. I just know how I use pens like this, and I was comparing them to how they do against ones that I already have and the way that I use them. But I really like them. I love the colors, and I look forward to using them, and I'm going to keep them right out on my desk because they look fine. I don't have to put them away, so I will use them more. So I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you next time.